Yeah, no problem, no problem, no problem. Okay, trustees, we're going to reconvene the February 5th Board of Trustee agenda, and we're going to go back to our BAE committee. And we were taking up item number 10, which is the OHA position on the Honolulu County Council, Resolution 25037. No one has signed up to speak on this. I'm just going to recognize Trustee Galataire again to read the motion, then we can do this trustee discussion.
Certainly. Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve the staff's recommendations for a position on the Honolulu County Council Resolution 25-037, urging the state of Hawaii to create a Hawaiian language commission.
Okay, can you get a second? All right, so now we'll put it to trustee discussion. For members of the public, we have the resolution online. Members also have physical copies of it. Our understanding, Lena Ala, is this resolution was put forth by the Honolulu City Council and Council Member Andrew Tupola. Okay, and I'll open it up for trustee discussion now. Trustee Akaka.
Hello. I would want to ask Councilmember Andrew Tupola this question, but maybe you can answer that. When I'm reading point 5 here, ensuring that Olala Hawaii remains a living language by developing new words so that it may be used effectively in a changing world. I would like to know if she collaborated with, say, Uncle Larry Kimura or somebody within the Hawaiian language program system, or somebody of the Hapunana Leo, if that is the desire of our kumu of this community. Because while I think that is great, having that as a condition on there, I don't know if that expectation should be there.
Yeah, I can't answer that question. The only thing I'd repeat is this is urging the state of Hawaii to create a Hawaiian language commission. So hopefully, if it went to the legislature or the administration, we would have another opportunity to provide input into how exactly this commission would be established and formed, and these further parameters that we've raised as concerns, since this is, urging action, but not itself mandating anything.
Yes, because my concern would be who would be the ones to deem those words as the words that theoretically would be added into the Hawaiian, a new version of the Hawaiian dictionary, and how would that consensus be drawn?
Yes, and if this were to pass, advocacy would definitely take on the kuleana of tracking where this goes next and what happens.
Thanks, Trustee Akaka. The chair will also note that this is Mahina o Lelo Hawaii month, right? A month of Pepeluali, and big kudos to our Kawaiʻola team, who again have done a fantastic job this month in featuring our language, and all of our trustees that added to the Kawaiʻola this month. I think not only is it probably timed very well, but also in light of what had happened a few months ago with someone from the public that made a reference to our language being a dead language. Clearly it is not. And I think this resolution, helps support that. And maybe this is something that over the course of the next legislative session, that our BAE committee and our chair and vice chairs, we can work with Councilwoman Tupola, maybe draft a bill that we can present to the legislature, maybe as possibly part of the OHA legislative package next year.
My top concern is that those that should be included are included, like those that have been the forerunners in reviving our language, like I'd mentioned, Uncle Larry Kimura, and those that Ahapunana Leo, to ensure that they are part of that process. That's my main concern, so that we're able to support that confidently.
Okay.
And that it's ensured that they are truly the ones supporting that as well. Thank you, as well as other community members, because as we all know, there have been, or maybe we don't all know this, but our Hawaiian language has not been limited to a specific way until the time of missionaries. There were different dialects or different letterings. There are different ways of speaking. And then it was whittled down to a specific way. So I just want to bring that to light, and so that certain considerations are made going forward. Mahalo.
And if you've ever had a chance to listen to or hear from someone from the Ihau speak, it's very different than the language that some of us are used to, learning at the Kulanui or in our homes. So, Trustee Galataire, did you have something?
Yeah, I know we're drilling down on Olelo and how deep that goes. I just wanted to submit for the consideration of our advocacy team and those who are going to be carrying this water. There are many ways by which to revitalize. And there is no, what I'm trying to say is not everybody is going to speak the language proficiently, but there are ways to embed the language into our daily lives. See, Olelo Hawaii did not show up just unintentionally at the airports. When you come walking in, the first thing you hear is Olelo Hawaii. That was by design. ATM machines. The language didn't just show up. That was by design. So what I'm submitting for consideration is that because not everybody will be drilling down, there are ways by which we can embed our language into our daily conversations. And by the time we get to generation number 3, all of that will be embedded, so that you're not calling it a house, you're calling it a holly or whatever. So I just wanted to kind of open that up. So when we do talk to council members or legislators or Congress people, that's kind of like our thing. It's not proficiency as much. Equally important is we talking the language, even if it's half Hawaiian, half English. Okay, thank you.
Trustee Lindsay.
Thank you. I would suggest that we also submit a resolution to the legislature and name a member from OHA to be on it, so that we can take leadership of who we really are, the Hawaiian Agency of the State of Hawaii.
I mean, one suggestion would be, we can work with a legislator at the legislature. And, we can draft and have a resolution or a concurrent resolution introduced this session. If we have a trustee that wants to spearhead that effort, it's something we can do this legislative session. If we think we need more time, then we can do it for next legislative session. But there still is time to do that if that's something we think we want to do.
Well, if
I'll leave that to the BAE committee to
Yeah.
decide.
Sure, we'd be happy to
But
submit.
great
something.
point.
Thank you. Well,
Hey, Trustee Ahuna?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to make sure that people understand too that, the language has never left us. And I come from an island that they still continue, our community still speaks, that's the main language, in Kikaha and on the west side, but they still speak the language. My only thing that I wanted to learn more about today is I want to know what's OHA's recommendation for us on this reso. I want to know what I need information to know how we should. I mean, is this okay? Is this, something that we want to look at? I like everybody's comments. One of the things that I also want to make sure that we understand too is that people brought up Nihao language and everything, and the University of Hawaii and Keal Naismith, who was representing the Nihaoans, they don't see eye to eye on how the language should be, talked about. So I just want to make sure that the right people too is on this council. And I'm sure people have heard about the issues going on with the language and stuff like that. But all I'm trying to say is, OHA, give me something so I can make a good decision on right now. So what is our stance?
Thanks, Trustee Ahuna. Just then to clarify with Lena Ala. So there's a resolution that has been put forth by Councilwoman Tupola that is in front of the Honolulu City Council for their adoption, or have they adopted this already?
No, they're gonna take it up in about 2 weeks. That's why we wanted to have it heard today,
Okay.
so we could, our recommendation is to support it. Our comments can reflect what was discussed today, and also as Stacy just pointed out, we can also propose an amendment that is the first bullet, say coordinating state, city, and OHA efforts.
And
So-
we would transmit that letter or that support from the board in the form of
Testimony,
testimony.
testimony
Yeah.
of support.
Okay, so yeah, basically, Trustee Ahuna, it would be for this board to, in concept, support the resolution as it's proposed with amendments and send a letter of support to the city council for the reso. So that's basically what the board is tasked with. And that's a recommendation
Yeah.
of the BA committee.
Thank you for being clear. Yes, I like that. Thank you.
Trustee Souza? Oh, no. Do you have your hand up? Okay, Trustee Akaka.
I support the spirit of this resolution. I think it's wonderful. And at the same time, I just want to make sure it's done as well as it can be, and that also knowing who would be considered as the Hawaiian language commissioners. You know,
Yeah,
Mr.
if I mean,
Simon?
if I would venture to say, because the reso is pretty broad, right, that makeup of down to the specifics of what a commission would be would probably be done at the legislature, right, in some way, shape, or form with legislation. So I don't know if it's Councilwoman Tupola's intent to go that down into the weeds in terms of the makeup of the commission, but it definitely would be if it was legislation introduced. But I think, Trustee Akaka, you can work with Lena Ala to make sure whatever that support looks like is reflective of what the board feels and it addresses the things that you're concerned about.
For myself, different things come to mind. My first thought was the kupuna that helped us get to where we're at currently. And the second thought is fast forwarding to the keiki. So when I think of the keiki and then how that works with OHA, I also am reminded about the aha opio and how that if that were in place, that would, or to be in place at the time of this assembly, then that would be a voice to be counted in. But maybe, I don't know if the commission is limited by age, and I think that having the city council having a youth commission and so forth, I am wondering if they would be considering a keiki voice as a part of this commission.
Okay, Trustee Lindsay? And then we'll go to Trustee Ahuna.
I was just thinking that, that our language is like so critical to us. It would be great if all the county councils could weigh in and with OHA and present this one thing to the legislature. So I just wondered if somebody can maybe talk with Tupola and see if that would be something they would
Consider.
entertain.
Yeah.
Because it would be so much stronger if all the islands,
Sure,
join in.
sure. Trustee, let's go to Trustee Ahuna. He's been waiting.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add on to what I was saying. Just thank you for the feedback. See, the thing that caught me in this resolution, and I want you to know this, Chair, too, is because you said it correctly. I don't know what the Hawaiian language is. I don't know, ever heard of that before in my life. I know what is Olelo Hawaii, but the thing is, why are we going to call them Hawaiian language? So that kind of caught me off guard. I know it's just, that's not even a word in our language. So why would we call it that? That's all. That's all. Those kind of things worry me. Thank you.
Trustee Akaka?
Mahalo for that manao, Trustee Ahuna. I also want to share that you might sometimes hear me say olelo makuahine, as that is the way it's oftentimes our Hawaiian language community might lovingly refer to the Hawaiian language, referring to our mother tongue. And also sharing that both my parents, Anna and Danny Akaka Jr., they lovingly say the guinea pigs of the beginnings of the UH Hawaiian language program. And part of their learning the language was where Uncle Larry Kimura took the students from island to island, from community to community to immerse themselves in the community with the kupuna, with the keiki, and to hear and converse with them in Ka'olelo Makuahine, so that they would learn the different dialects and way in which expressions were shared. And that's why I really highlight that it's important for those who are the forerunners and ensuring that this continues to be a living language, that they are included, because they are the keepers of the knowledge that has been preserved, and that certain things do need to be made into consideration when it comes to diacriticals, when it comes to dialects, when it comes to spelling, and that there often is not just a single way. Mahalo.
Okay, trustees, I think we've got really good discussion on this. I think it's time to vote. Lehua, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Just for clarification, it was mentioned about an amendment in here. Is that where we're voting with that amendment?
Yeah, I think Lena Ala captured the amendment, and I think what we'll do is once you've put together that letter of support in draft form, you can work with Chair Galatario and Vice Chair Kaka on what that final would look like.
Noted was to add OHA in the first bullet point about coordinating state, city, and OHA efforts. And then changing Hawaiian language to Olelo Hawaii throughout. So it would be an Olelo Hawaii Commission as well.
This is Olelo Hawaii month.
That's correct.
There was also that recommendation by Trustee Lindsay regarding the inclusion of all, or the coming together of all the county councils throughout
You
the
make that
island.
recommendation.
So
Sure.
I see that it says coordinating state and city. Trying to think how that could be worded differently. County councils throughout the islands, or something short, in a shorter.
We can, if that's the motion, as long as it's clear what the motion is, so I can include it in our testimony.
I think that the idea is to urge the city council and Councilwoman Tupolo to reach out to the other three county councils on the islands of Hawaii and Maui, Nui, and Kauai, to include them as well.
Okay, mahalo.
Okay, let's vote.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina, Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galutaria, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
and Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
All right, thank you, trustees. We're now moving on to the Committee on Investment and Land Management. That is next on our agenda. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak on item ILM 2501 before I recognize Chair Souza?
There's no one signed up for this item.
Okay. Let me recognize Chair Souza to
All right.
read the motion.
Chair Kahele, your Committee on Investment and Land Management, having met on January 22nd, 2024, after full and free discussion, recommends approval of the following. Approval of the updated 2024 guidelines to the Native Hawaiian Trust Fund Private Markets Commitment Plan.
Second.
Okay, we got the second. Trustees, do we have any discussion on 2501? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Guidelines.
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa,
Yes.
Trustee Galutaria,
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza,
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
and Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, moving on to item number ILM 2502. Do we have anyone sign up to speak on this item?
No one has signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, Chair recognizes Trustee Souza to read the motion.
All right, Chair Kahele, I'd like to move to approve to undertake the due diligence phase 2 activities for proposed land transfer of Mauna Ala, Nu'uanu, Oahu to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And number 2, execute and or procure all necessary agreements, instruments, applications, and other appropriate documents necessary for phase 2 due diligence to inform the potential transfer of land transfer from DLNR to OHA.
Second.
Trustees, discussion. Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Kanalua.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Aye. Trustee Galuteria,
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
Chair Kahele,
Aye.
and Trustee Ahuna.
Lua.
Kalamai.
Kanalua.
Kanalua. Okay, mahalo. You have 8 yes votes and 1 abstention.
Okay, mahalo. All right, moving on to item number ILM 2503. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item, Lehua?
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, Trustee Souza for the
All right,
motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve to undertake due diligence Phase 2 activities for a proposed land transfer of Kaneolo'uma Heiau Complex, Koloa, Kauai, to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Approve and authorize the CEO to delegate to OHA administration the authority to, number 1, undertake due diligence Phase 2 activities for proposed land transfer of Kaneolo'uma Heiau Complex, Koloa, Kauai, to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Number 2, execute and/or procure all necessary agreements, instruments, applications, and other appropriate documents necessary for Phase 2 due diligence to inform the potential transfer of land from the County of Kauai to OHA. And number 3, take all other reasonable actions necessary and appropriate to implement the foregoing.
Second.
Okay, Trustee Wahe, seconds. Trustees, do we have any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina,
Aye.
Trustee Alapa. Aye. Trustee Galuteria.
Aye.
Trustee Lindsay.
Aye.
Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
and Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Item number ILM 2504. Do we have any members of the public signed up to speak on this item, Lehua?
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, Chair recognizes Trustee Souza to read the motion.
All right, Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to approve to undertake due diligence Phase 2 activities for proposed land transfer of the Ahupua'a Kahana parcels Kahana Oahu to the Office of Foreign Affairs. Approve and authorize the CEO to delegate to the Office of Foreign Affairs Administration the authority to, number 1, undertake due diligence Phase 2 activities for proposed land transfer of the Ahupua'a Kahana parcels Kahana Oahu to the Office of Foreign Affairs. Number 2, execute and/or procure all necessary agreements, instruments, applications, and other appropriate documents necessary for due diligence to inform the potential transfer of the aforementioned parcels from the DLNR to OHA. And number 3, take all other reasonable actions necessary and appropriate to implement the foregoing.
Second.
Trustees, discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka,
Aye.
Trustee Akina, Trustee Alapa, Trustee Galuteria, Trustee Lindsay, Trustee Souza, Trustee Waihe'e,
Yes.
and Chair Kahele.
Aye.
You have 9 yes votes.
Okay, we're gonna move on to ILM 2505, but before we do that, we're gonna take a quick recess. And this will be to discuss the proposed due diligence for Phase 2 for Waimanalo. I know we have members of the public that are here, and so we're gonna